Imagine it. You've just won the NHL draft lottery. You get the first overall pick. You're going to get the player that will someday push your team to accomplishing the ultimate goal, winning the Stanley Cup. But how often do first overall picks actually end up contributing toward their draft team winning the Stanley Cup? Like, what are your chances of winning it based on a first overall pick? That's what we're going to look at today. To a certain degree, I'll be showing you the data for which first overall draft picks won the Stanley Cup with their draft teams. So this won't necessarily account for, how a team was built around the player, nor will it show if the player was involved in a trade maybe that ended up helping their team win, their draft team win. But we are still going to see how well first overall NHL entry draft picks since NHL expansion have done in terms of if they won the cup or in how far they did end up going. And in the end, I'll give you the total amount of first overall picks that won the cup with their draft team. And so we'll do that. And I'm recording this on March 20th before the NHL playoffs have started. So we might see a couple of changes here. Perhaps McDavid will get added to the list. So keep that in mind as I go through this if you happen to be watching this later on. But with that said, let's get into it. Now, we're going to go through all the post-expansion first overall picks. So Celebrini technically is on this list, and we're going to look at him, but obviously this is not going to change this year. The Sharks have already been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, and even if they weren't, there's no way they would be making it anyway. Macklin, not going to change anything this year. Neither will Connor Bedard, who is on the Blackhawks, far outside the playoffs. 2022's pick of Slavkovsky, he might make the playoffs. At the moment, I think they're in the playoff spot, or they're fighting for one anyway. But what's he going to do? He's going to maybe change how far he goes in the playoffs, potentially this year. But to see Montreal winning the Stanley Cup this year is kind of, if you predict it and it comes true, props, but very unlikely. Very unlikely, I'll say. 2021, the year they did go to the finals, right? So who knows? But 2021, Owen Power, I doubt he's making the playoffs. The Sabres look too far out of it right now. And so no changes probably here either. 2020's pick, the New York Rangers, Alexis Lafreniere. He is gone to round 3, so that's the R3 that you see there. You'll see R2 for other people, R1 for other people, depending on how far they've actually gone in the playoffs. But again, no Stanley Cup for Lafreniere. 2019 is Jack Hughes. He's been to round 2, and he's kind of out, so he's not going to go far this year, even if the Devils make the playoffs. I don't think he's even able to come back. I know they push players to come back sometimes if they go on deep runs, but I don't know, not looking good for Jack this year at least. 2018, Dahlin has not made the playoffs, so it hurts, but not as much as for Sabres fans, I'm sure. But it's hard to see the Sabres continually not make the playoffs, so sorry to Dahlin there. 2017, Hischier has made round 2. 2016, Matthews has made round 2. 2015, Connor McDavid has made the finals with his draft team. 2014, we're going to get our first Stanley Cup winner with their draft team, or in general either is Aaron Ekblad here. Won it with the Panthers this past playoffs. So, there's one. Now, again, was this first overall pick? If it was just Aaron Ekblad and they hadn't gotten those other players, obviously we'd be telling a different story as we would be for the other ones. But a great complementary piece on this Florida team that definitely helped their push for the Stanley Cup. So, and then 2013, we got another one. We got Nathan MacKinnon, who won in 2022 with the Colorado Avalanche. So there's a cup winner for the draft team as well. 2012 was Nail Yakupov, possibly the worst first overall draft pick of all time, until we get to the guys that didn't even make it to the NHL, which is before 1967. Actually, 1967 didn't either. So, possibly since then the worst first overall pick of all time. Didn't even make the playoffs. I think he might have been on teams that played in the playoffs, but he himself never played a playoff game. So yeah, there's that. So anyway, 2011 finalist Ryan Nugent Hopkins. 2010 we got round 2 with Taylor Hall, but not with the Oilers, with the Boston Bruins this time. So you'll see a logo there if it was not with their draft team. 2009 Tavares made round 2 with the Maple Leafs, but he also did with the Islanders as well. 2008 Stamkos got 2 cups, so there's another one for the list. 2 cups with the Tampa Bay Lightning, who drafted him. 2007 Patrick Kane, famously 3 Stanley Cups in the almost dynasty Chicago Blackhawks 2010s. Basically like the modern day dynasty, right? And so there's that. 2006 Eric Johnson, he did win a cup, but it was with Colorado. 2005 Sid the Kid, or Sid the middle-aged man at this point, won 3 Stanley Cups with his draft team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. He is a generational player, and definitely the best time to be able to choose first overall in the last 20 years here, or even like 25 you could say, or even you could probably say up until Mario Lemieux potentially. So yeah. So 2004 we got Ovi, he did win a cup with the Caps. 2003 we got Fleury, he also won 3 with the Penguins. He was involved to some degree in the last 2, but obviously Matt Murray was also a big part of that as well. But still, it's almost like Fleury was better. I think I remember that too. He was better when they made the finals, like even with Vegas and Pittsburgh. He was better playing when he made the finals than when he actually won. But of course, he won, and a very deserving goaltender for that as well. 2002, Rick Nash. He was a finalist with the Rangers in 2014, but never did win the Stanley Cup, and much less with the Blue Jackets. The furthest that Kovalchuk went, the 2001 first overall pick, was also the Stanley Cup Finals with New Jersey. No cups, obviously, for Atlanta. 2000, we have Rick DiPietro. He played in round 1 for the Isles. 99, Patrick Steffen. No playoff games, I don't think, at all. So, yeah, that's kind of a tough one for his career. Always felt bad for Patrick Steffen, but yeah, definitely did not live up to being a first overall pick, that's for sure. 1998, Vincent Lecavalier won the Stanley Cup in 2004, so there's another one for the list. 1997, Jumbo Joe, only a finalist, and that was with the Sharks. 1996, Chris Phillips, a finalist with the Sens in 2007, but no cup. 1995, Brian Berard, he actually made it to round 3 with Toronto, but nothing in terms of cups, and yeah, nothing in terms of the Sens either. 94, Ed Jovanovski went to the finals with the Panthers in 96. Did not win the cup, sadly. That's my favorite player, is Jovanovski. 93, we got Alexander Dagg. He did make round 1, but that's it. 1992, Roman Hamrlik went to the conference finals with Montreal, but other than that, nothing. 1991, I shouldn't say other than that, nothing. There's possibly other playoff runs he's been on, but other than that, no cups for Tampa, so, or no round 3s either. Well, let's keep going here. I got mixed up there. Lindros made the finals, but it was for the Flyers, not the Nordiques. He wouldn't play with the Nordiques. 1990, Owen Nolan made round 2 with the Sharks. 1989, Matt Sundin, conference finals with the Leafs. 1988, here's another cup winner. Different team, but same franchise, so we're putting him on the list. Mike Modano won with the Dallas Stars, obviously, in 1999. And so as a North Stars draft pick, he does still qualify for this because we are counting same franchise on this list. 1987, Pierre Turgeon made the conference finals with the Blues and the Islanders, but no cups, and nonetheless no cups for that means no cups for Buffalo, right? His draft team. 1986, Joe Murphy. He was a cup winner with the Oilers. I believe that one was in 1990. But not with the Red Wings, so yeah. And 1985, we got Wendell Clark, round 3, conference finals with the Leafs. I believe that was the 93 one. Yeah, I think it was. It might be 94. I forget exactly what it was. Maybe I can look it up. It doesn't matter that much for this list because he didn't make it. But maybe out of curiosity, I might just take a quick look here. It looks like 93 and 94 both times, actually. So couple great runs with the Maple Leafs there. But yeah, no cups for them, unfortunately. So 1984, we got Mario Lemieux. And yeah, possibly the best. I would say, yeah, he's the best first overall pick of all time. I don't think there's really much debate around that, as Gretzky was not a first overall pick, and neither was Bobby Orr, and neither was Gordie Howe. If you really want to argue about that, I would personally probably call Mario Lemieux the second greatest player of all time behind Gretzky. And so yeah, you knew, like, put the team on his back. Although he did have a lot of help, especially in the second cup run, but still, one of the best players ever in the history of the game. I'd say the second best player ever. Of course, he won cups with his draft team, and of course his draft team would never, ever trade him or let him go. So yeah, 83. We've got Brian Lawton, and he made it to round 3, but that's all for him. 1982, we've got Gord Kluzak, who also went to round 3. And so, yeah. 1981 is Dale Hawerchuk, who went to the finals with Philly but never won the cup. 1980, we've got Doug Wickenheiser, who went to round 3 with the St. Louis Blues, but also never won the cup. 1979, Rob Ramage actually has 2 Stanley Cup teams that he was on, but nothing for the Rockies there, who drafted him. 1978, we got Bobby Smith, nothing for the North Stars, but he does have a cup with Montreal, but he will not make the list at the end because it was not with the North Stars. 1977, we have someone that I don't even recognize. Dale McCourt, that's who it is. Had to look at my sheet here. Dale McCourt made round 2 with the Red Wings there. And then Rick Green won with the Canadiens, but not with the Caps. So he's not on the list either. 75, we've got Mel Bridgman, one of the greatest mustaches in history, but no cups. He was a finalist with the Flyers, but not when they were winning Stanley Cups. Being drafted in 1975, the Flyers winning in 74 and 75, he would not have been able to be a part of that. So yeah, made the finals. No cups for Bridgman, though. 1974, we have Greg Jolie, and he made it to round 2, but it was with the Red Wings, not the Caps. The Caps were famously not very good at the start of their existence, I guess. Being a expansion team that took a while to really get into the swing of things. 73, though, we got another guy here. Denny Potvin, 4 Stanley Cups. People argue him as the best player during that dynasty. I look at Bossy. I also look at Trottier as well as an underrated defensive game player as well. Trottier was I don't know, maybe he's just underrated nowadays. I mean, I'm sure back then he probably wasn't being underrated in that way. But yeah, Trottier, Bossy, amazing players. Potvin as well. Just such a solid pickup here for a solid dynasty. 4 in a row. Will we see that again? Probably not, right? So yeah. Then we got Billy Harris, who made it to round 3 with the Islanders, but did not actually win with them. 1971, another legend here. Guy Lafleur, 5 cups with the Montreal Canadiens. Unreal stuff there. 1970 was Gilbert Perreault, who did not actually win a cup. He made the finals with the Sabres. Legendary player. Unfortunate that he never did win a Stanley Cup. 1969, we got Rajon Houle. 5 cups with the Canadiens as well, and so yeah. And 68, we've got Michel Place. This one was interesting. He wasn't listed as having won this cup, but he was on the team at the time when they won in 1973, and he played some games. So I don't know if he actually had his name engraved on the cup. I'm gonna count him, but if you don't count him, then just take off 1 more from the number that I put up. And 1967, we've got Rick Peg Nutty, who did not actually play in the NHL, and neither did a couple other picks before him either. first overall picks in 65 and 64. And so we're not even going to go that far back. Gary Monahan, I think, didn't play enough games to be counted as a Stanley Cup winner. And Barry Gibbs never won. So we're just going to go straight to it. 14 is our number. 14 first overall picks have won the Stanley Cup for their teams that drafted them, for their draft teams, right? Again, if you don't want to count Michel Plas, 13 have, but yeah, that is the answer for you. So, does it matter too much if you get the first overall pick? It really obviously just depends on the year, right? You know, looking at McDavid, what it's amazing that Edmonton has not been able to put a team around him that has been able to win so far. Because, I mean, you've got the best player in the world, another top 5 player in the whole league, in the whole world, in Draisaitl, at the very least, depending on where you'd rank him in that top 5. And so, yeah, it's just like, it kind of baffles me that they haven't put a team around those two that has actually won yet. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of crazy. But then there's other teams too, like Bedard, or other first overall picks as well, Bedard and whoever. And it's interesting because, you know, first overall picks that actually win, you get to Lemieux and Modano, and then there's a huge gap, kind of 10-year gap, I guess. But it seems like once the Cavalier comes into play, then it starts to get the ball rolling. You know, looking at Kane and Stamkos and McKinnon, it does seem like scouting has gotten better and different things like that for sure. And so it might be a more prized thing looking at the trajectory of things from here on out. But you never know. Like, is Dahlin ever going to get one? Is Jack Hughes ever going to get one? Because there are a lot of good teams and a lot of good players, right? You'd think Bedard will one day eventually get one. You'd think Celebrini as well, but who actually knows? So, yeah, so far it's been 13, or 14, right, if you count Plas. And so, yeah, there you go.